We're back with part 2 of the Melbourne Punters Show.
An emotional interlude that we had.
We did.
We were watching Dad
After
show his interviews.
Yeah, the great gift of music winning there at Geelong, and the fabulous post-race interview on racing.com that I missed.
It
was great. It was good to watch. It was terrific.
That brings us to another thing that happened at Geelong. Yeah, he's a great friend of the show, Trav Noonan, who grabbed you for that interview. He's a producer for TRP. He's a good man. He watches the show. Always says g'day at the races. They lost the line to Rick there on Friday up in the callers box.
Yeah.
And look at one stage there, as they were loading the last 3 horses into the gates, that another friend of the show, BZ, and another friend of the show, Gator, were going to have to call race 1 at Geelong.
Looked at each other in horror.
They weren't keen, were they?
They were pointing at one another saying, you do it, no, you do
It was
it.
going to be scissors, paper, rock, I think, between those two.
But Trav has called a few trials and he's a bit of a budding race caller. He did a magnificent job calling that race, and all he had was the colours on his phone, on the app,
Oh, good boy.
to call the runners.
And the microphone.
And the microphone that he took off TV.
He must have run down from wherever he was.
He got
He must have had, like...
He would have been floating around.
He floats around down the front.
Yeah.
He did, like, I think it's fair to say he wouldn't have had more than a minute's notice.
Yeah. Oh no, it was less than a minute.
And he did an unbelievable job. I mean, really, that young man, congratulations. That was really
thumbs up to you, Trav. Well done.
There's a story that might be apocryphal, I don't think it is, but was it Maury Kirby who was the trots caller? About the 70s or, before all of us. Yeah, before all of us. But his son, let's make up a name, Brian Kirby, right?
Yeah.
Was trying to make it. And he wasn't getting any opportunities. So Maury's called the trots in the back straight, there's like this, pure still, there's going like, oh! Fortunately, here's my son to take over and call the rest of it. And his son just, great job by his son Brian who filled in.
Well, in life, I'm sure Travis doesn't need me to say this, but in life, opportunities come in all sorts of different times, things, and life looks after people that step up when the opportunities present. So good on the young man.
Good on you, Trav. Week ahead, boys. We're at Royal Warwick to build today.
We're doing Caulfield first.
We'll get there.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Warwick to build today. We're down to Sale tomorrow. I'm off
Big
down there.
Wesley, what does that mean? If it's going to blow up their backside in the straight, what's that mean? So it'll be Sale. So if it's right behind them in the straight, leaders on a heavy track, they're still going to have to get off.
Yeah, it's off rail there.
Yeah. Warnable at this stage, but I have heard whispers it could be moved to cold rain if it's too wet. On Thursday, Pakenham Friday.
Pakenham on the turf?
No.
On the synthetic, is it?
Yeah.
Still on the poly. Oh. Still poly through August, I think.
Flemington on Saturday, and good news for you, DK. We're off to Bairnsdale on Saturday. We've got a provincial meeting back, and then Sunday we have Sandown for the jumps meeting there, and the rescheduled Echuca meeting from Monday. So busy weekend, DK.
Good.
How many jumps races at Sandown?
There'll be at least 2.
So you might have to do something. We'll add that into the set.
Yeah.
So for any of our midweek subscribers that haven't seen the email or whatever that Jake sent out, the meeting at Sale tomorrow is pretty ordinary, so it's just not worth. I don't think there's any value in us doing it from a full set point of view. So instead of that meeting, my goals will get the Sunday Sandown meeting, which will be a much better betting proposition for us.
Double better.
Yeah.
Boys, Caulfield Saturday. Kirkland won the first. It was 440 into 320.
Well, this race pace was murderous. I've got Vince Carter.
They went
quick. And once again, underlines what I say, but they refused to look at pace as opposed to positioning, because they went 8 to 10 lengths quicker than that field should have gone. No questions asked. But anyway, suited Cootland that was truck loaded.
3 out the back or whatever, finished
1,
2.
And now tell me this about a quick backup, because that's, I suppose, part of the reason why it was backed. Quick backup off a soft run the week before is a good thing, wouldn't it? So it was effectively a fast barrier trial, what it did the week before.
I think it was more back because it was apples to apples. You could compete. It had good Caulfield 2,000 metre form.
Yep.
If you went back to its 3 old days, went second to Sontag, and the robots love apples to apples.
Yes.
Whereas Turbo Street was off the pressure 1600 at Mooney Valley box seat, never went round a horse.
Yeah.
I know he's bleeding and everything, but still, that's why I reckon that's why he got easy in the market. Call it in, they go, okay, where's his? It's 2,000 metre Caulfield. The first thing the robots do is, where's his 2,000 metre Caulfield runs?
Yes.
You know, and then he's off the, what did he do the other day? Ran second at Flemington, now he's on the backup. It was a bit of a box ticket for them.
Yeah.
Not saying, you know.
But she went well enough to win again.
Ran out of rating at the end though. I mean, it was running a good figure, but it did run out of rating or hit the wall the last.
Yeah.
Slow section, didn't it?
Yeah.
Looked like it was going to race away
the problem with
200.
On face value, it looks like she's gone quite good. But then Walloon Regions run second.
Yeah.
He has got a few spikes here and there, so it's sort of not out of. So I think it's the answer lies somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
That's fair.
Yeah.
and everything about the race is fine with me, except I don't know what the right thing is. I find it disappointing when a horse is so easy in the betting as Turbo Street is, which sort of I get all the reasons why, but then it bleeds. You just think, gee, why? I know.
100%.
Like if it had to just run its race and got beat 2 lengths, I wouldn't even care less. I just go no.
And I always like
because I had a lot of problems with that race. I had a lot of problems. Yeah. I got down to Coupland and Turbo Street, couldn't decide which way to go, whether to mark them the same price.
Yeah, but you're normally anti that pressure 1600 to 2000, aren't you?
I absolutely am, but I found her forms really hollow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She was coming from that mare's race.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
she was
right.
20 to
Yeah.
1.
You know?
Yeah.
She was 20 to 1 in that mare's race.
Yeah.
And that mare's race
couldn't get past the Venom Moon.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that
Why does
all of the rest of the race was terrible, right? So all the other horses I was at, just no good. So I'm left with Coupland and Turbo Street. He's a horse with more substance. She's a horse with a better profile on the backup, distance range, you know. So everything would have been fine for me if Turbo Street had to run some sort of race. But the fact that he's really easy in betting and then believes, you just...
He dropped out at the 800. He was there till the 200. He only went backwards the last, stopped at the 200 or the 300 or something. It was in the straight.
Anyway, it does.
All right.
Whatever, she's won.
Yeah, but I'd say, that's a tip for the punters. If you're apples to apples, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
But I would be a little bit careful of that race.
I think Straight Jacket or Pincher Race next up, they went so much faster than he should have.
Yeah.
And if they find the right, well, obviously not a strong race because as you're saying it's not an overly strong form, but if he can get a soft lead or a softer lead, that second and longer run is real form.
Yeah, well, it's Straight Jacket. He's been up for a while. He's sort of hovering, just sort of not doing much, but he has got one huge spike run at Flemington.
That was one, second and longer.
Where he ran second and longer run. So if he was able to produce that off that good fitness builder, maybe. Anyway.
Race 2 was taken out by Olanira, who was sold in the market at around 550. He beat Osidium Ruler and Shizozo.
Tempo and Hall.
Yeah. Which doesn't it underline some people think that Nick Hall can't ride on paces?
He can in staying races.
Yeah, in staying races.
Remember, you know what this reminded me of? I just went back to that one.
Williams horse.
A sign.
Yeah, sign.
Yeah.
Where we got the spoil and the prize, and he just owned the race.
Yeah.
So I'll be very wary of N Hall in these
Yeah.
spring carnival. If he gets on a Williams horse,
Yeah.
it's going to be up the front, controlling tempo, and one of those Norman Robinson, not Norman, but anyway, whatever it is, the Motham or whatever it is. Yeah, he's.
N Hall to me, he's like the new version of Jimmy Cassidy or Bossy, you know, where it's either awful and he's just not taking part, or he's fantastic, you know. He's he just owns races and he's just so good, you know what I mean. And at the moment he's switched on and I think you're right, Dick. I think he's a jockey to keep well and truly on your side for the moment, you know, going into the spring, because he looks like he's very hungry.
Well, if you look at him physically too.
He ran, where was it? Was it on Sunday?
He had that buys, Hanston.
Yeah.
Hey, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Slinging those things down the middle and packing them.
Yeah.
So it seems. And was he on Lady Effort?
Yeah.
And he was on something else.
But didn't
He
he
just looked so good, smart dart.
Yeah.
Well, he had the break, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he might have matured a bit.
Yeah, he
So
was
he
playing
had
all
a
those.
bad hip injury.
Yeah.
Which I reckon was
But
last
he's
week.
had 6 months off or something.
Yeah, which I reckon, if you're thinking physically, look
Yeah.
at your footy in your footy brain, you'd say, well, that could take you a year to get over.
Yeah, playing.
You know, so he's always had that amazing natural brilliance. So
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
this is.
No, I was going to like that. People were blowing holes at change it, but that horse has raced on speed before. Wasn't really changed. He's barrier one. He died there. What's he hand up to downhill downs?
Yeah.
It's 100-1 and crawl. So he said, "I'll crawl in front instead."
Dan, let me
And then,
let me give people who think that.
So my bottom line is good Nick's as good as anyone.
Yeah.
You're not losing anything with good Nick on.
If you're not suited, that Jimmy Berg ran all right. He was just totally.
Yeah.
Him and on City were they went a sprint at 800, a hard sprint. Doesn't suit them.
Went
He's got run.
11 leagues slower on Vince's work to the 800
There you go.
going forward. So
Yeah.
people who think that's a change of tactics, he went slower. That's the jockey understanding the feel of the race and doing the right thing by the horse and the punters by not dragging back for positioning. He went 11 lengths slower even though he's on speed. So full marks in all and no marks. In that race too, because I was spewing out Bondiga. You were right, I was wrong. But also, interesting, Ben Allen got severely reprimanded to the point of nearly getting suspended. Because for the whole 2 hours straight was just smashing him in. And once the figures came out, that was a double shot. Not only was he, playing jockeys against Craig Williams, and that's right, I mean, part of, I suppose, when you mark your territory as a kid coming through, but really, given they were going so slowly, he would have been better off whipping right around the whole field and he might have won the race.
Yeah, well, he's on to Shuzozo. First start at 2400, he was a sit and sprint top of all. So, honestly though, but that practice of jockeys getting marginally in front of the horse on their inside and taking them into the inside rail happens in nearly every race. I mean, how he could get reprimanded for that's beyond me.
Oh, it's pretty severe.
Oh, fuck, it happens in every race, Ralph. Like, it happens in every race. If you sit there and watch videos, you'll see it in every race. Like, particularly if they start.
There must be a line. There must be a borderline there. Wasn't there a big one with Michelle or something about 12 months ago? Yeah. Or it was done to her, or she. Yeah, and the stewards are really hot on it.
This is a case of Terry Bailey waiting for his chance to have a crack at Ben Allen.
So is Bondiga never again? Because you're as big a D with follower as anyone, or not?
No, well, it only came across after 40 days or something, didn't it?
Yeah.
I think I'd wait for it a full prep.
Yeah.
Bondiga's he's a horse that you can entertain at the right odds.
Yeah.
He's never a bet at 2 to 1 or less.
But maybe he's one of those horses that because he runs a place in the Derby, people go stayer. Maybe he's a 2000 horse, and Blinker's 2000, and do you want to say to Darren we can't work out a horse? I don't know.
Well, they have to decide what they're going to do. But I mean, that was only his first run at 2400.
That's
right. Again, and that was the problem with that race. Nearly all of them were having their first run at 2400, and in the end, the best ride won.
It'll be $8 to $12 at some stage, and that's when Robbie chips in.
Well, I don't think you can ever go chips in on that horse, Jeffrey.
I can, because I'm a fucking lunatic.
I know I'm going to push this, but I heard a podcast with Charles Barclay, the legend. He's a very funny man. I don't know if you heard any of his work with Bill Simmons. And so Charles Barclay would regularly do his nuts at the casino, which has been quite well documented. And so they were asking about it, and he said, "You can ask me anything about my public life," and ask me. He said, "Well, I would say I want to win $1 million when I went to the casino, obviously, because I'm stupid money." So he said probably 5 or 6 times I won $1 million when I went to the casino. I probably lost $1 million 20 times. He said so. So he said I gave up gambling for 2 years, quote unquote. You can check this. So he said, then my friend said to me, "Charles, you haven't got a gambling problem. The problem is you're a fucking idiot." He said, "Stop trying to win $1 million every time you go to the casino." So it's all about being happy to win it for
you.
And speaking of King Charles, if anyone wants to go to YouTube and Google his golf swing, it is singly the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. It's a crime against humanity. Race 3 was taken out by the apparent winner of the Caulfield Guineas in Darren.
There's a race though.
Nasdaq was, as we mentioned in part 1, Nasdaq was truck-loaded.
He went good. He's a nice horse. He went a bit, he was a bit keen up the front, setting a good tempo.
Sort of light. I'll give you an analogy.
Was a good return.
Very smart trainers, the boys.
Yep.
Heatherly, when she was a 2-year-old, couldn't hold it. They tried her to settle, they taught her to settle, and then they got good results out of it. I reckon Sort of Light's very similar because when she won on Australia Day, she ran super time and then just went way too quick at 1100 and they gave her one more, it didn't work.
Yep.
This time I couldn't work out why she was soft in the market, but then you look at her jump outs, they're teaching her to settle, very quiet. Then she's worked home. I reckon they've got a more furnished racehorse. So I think this is a race because there's enough Nasdaq's. There's a bit of depth to this, I think.
Well, I really backed Sort of Light on Saturday at a very big price early on.
Yeah.
Each?
No, I didn't. No, because I backed Darren as well. So anyway, the race was on.
Yeah.
But before she made her debut, which was at Sale or Chuka,
Sort of Light, Chuka.
Chuka.
Right, yeah.
She trialled the same. Like she jumped out. Like she does, I think she's just a race man. She doesn't go in trials.
Right.
So I think you can almost ignore what she does in jump outs.
Yeah.
She's never gone quick in a jump out.
Yeah.
She's never got close to them.
And they just priced her at the end of her prep rather than her talent on Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
you backed her on her talent, which is good.
Well, so I'm saying she went to a Chuka on debut and was easy in the betting that day and ran way above expectations.
Yeah.
Because she switches on race day and then she did the same at a second run.
Yeah.
I think she won a Caulfield.
But there was murderous pace in front of her.
Yeah. So I'm saying, but then they sort of got lost a bit, and she drew wide, and they rode her out of the gates and just all went a bit.
Cooked it, yeah.
And then on Saturday, to me, she was in a perfect race for her, where she could just settle and do a thing, and she switches on. So I'm saying I don't know that she's a horse to follow. So I'm not saying she's not, but I'm not sure that she is.
Were you disappointed by it?
No, I think she ran exactly.
That's a sound return.
She ran exactly as I expected her to run.
That's the number she's run. Come back at her number.
So I'm just saying that to me, she needs that type of race, though. Right. So she got that type of race at 1,000 metres.
Yeah.
She might not get that type of race going up in distance. She might end up in a situation again where she ends up on pace, which I don't think is ever going to suit her. That's my opinion of her. So I think the winner is a better horse.
The horse to follow for me is the fourth horse.
Gatlinburg's the horse. That's the horse.
Smurd, it was a really sound return.
Third across the board, which I love. Third best 800, 600, 400, 200 today. I love that. That's a sustained
first up
speed. Yeah.
So I drew an inside gate, which is the only reason I didn't back on.
Strongest prep on
it's done in its first prep.
Strongest speed on the build. Its first prep.
Its first prep, its jump outs were very average. This time, its jump outs are much better.
Yep.
It's a horse that's got a stack of wins. It's an ideal 3-year-old. Had the nose roll there on Saturday in a 1,000-metre race. I mean, almost. Matt asked me for some black bookers and needs the one I sent through from Saturday's meeting. Yeah. I hope everyone doesn't back it because I want to back this horse.
That would be right.
But, in the right race, it might not win next start. It might take a couple. It might be a win at the back end of the carnival or something in a mile race, and you just never know. But it's
work it out.
It's definitely a horse that's going to win a few races as a 3-year-old.
Race 4 was taken out by Blythe Bell, who beat Conspicuous Maiden Dream Food.
Go on.
Anatola,
your platform's yours.
Yeah, I thought Paul Hodgson, who came on, we were talking about on Twitter, and Paul Hodgson came on Twitter and he said it best. He said Anatola, he said one out is the box position. Anatola was in the box. In the box.
That's what I call it. I call it in the box. When I'm doing my maps, I think that horse is in the box, you know what I mean? Which, it can be a great spot, it can be an awful spot. It's either really good or really bad. It's very rarely anything in the middle, you know? Because if you either get off the leaders back on the home turn and you're away, or you're stuck and it's like the race is going, the momentum's got you.
Actually, you've just given me a flashback of one thing I reckon Mark Lemble said 3 or 4 years ago about Nash, and maybe that's something, I don't know if Ben Allen did the wrong thing or maybe there's nothing he could have done. But remember he used to say that Nash's ability would be, instead of sitting a length behind, he'd sit a length of 3/4 behind, and that just gives you enough room to get out and momentum and out there.
H. Coffee's did that on Junior Burger.
Yeah, right.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
I'll watch that replay there. It's a really good ride.
So Blythe Bell, I thought was PR, but very well written. But I thought 1,400 free, the way that race unfolded with the leader stopping, and then it was the next lot of conveyor belt.
Yeah,
that was right. Conspicuous Maiden was a big go there. Robots.
Yeah, same type of thing.
26 into 9.
Fit.
It's a big go.
Race 5 was taken out by Hersley for Qatar Blood stock beating.
The interesting thing about Conspicuous Bell, the only reason I didn't find it, because I would have marked her about 10 to 1, I ended up marking her 20s or something, was because she was coming off the synthetic. So it's interesting that the Robots found her off the synthetic, I thought.
Maybe the home track. Maybe I don't know.
Fitness too.
Getting any figures at the track.
Anyway.
Hersley, well, we can...
Hersley won for Qatar Blood stock beating Perfect Lifeline and Talus Tycoon.
And then to talk about here, trailer. The second horse is a Beal, so he's not about a 5th run first prep.
Yeah.
So he's an improve. He's going to. They're at best 4, 5, 6-year-olds, aren't they? So
yeah. And what we haven't touched on, and Al Montiel was probably a victim of it a bit, was the brutal headwind up the side there at Caulfield. So when the leaders were falling back, Al Montiel was working into it. So it wasn't a bad run, but also that's greatly affected all the 1,200 races, which is just the one shoot from the 400 back to the start in different ways.
Race 6 was taken out by Andrasso for Alison Sheen, who seems to be flying at the moment. And beating Butterboom and Vibrant Rouge. But yeah, she's taken a couple of winners in the last week, hasn't she, DK?
The real key to this race is, though, you had the two races 3 and 4 were both from the chute, and you had strong tempos and horses coming from the back with cover and winning. The jockeys overreact to that. And the first 600 of this race compared to the Blythe Bell race
barrier trial speed
it's 2 seconds difference, so 13 lengths difference. So I mean, if you let a horse like a Dressy jog for 600 metres and have complete control of the front, they just dominate the race. You can't run faster than them for the last 600 metres, and they basically finished. They didn't change order really. They just bunched up.
This goes back to something we said in part one, which is more of an example I'm trying to give. Like a horse like Rockalicious, that's got the speed to just own that race. If there was big money for it first start for Weir, I would have thought, well, they're going to be aggressive here. But there wasn't. No. So that's what I'm talking about. So your figure has to be adjusted on public knowledge and expectation. I'm not saying they did the wrong thing, because...
No, but it's just his horses. They just don't... I mean, there's that one fast horse he's got. Not Verdulé. Which was the fast horse he's got?
Verdulé.
Verdulé, yeah. But very rarely do you see his...
No, but that's...
banged out of the gates.
Yeah, that proves the point, because at Warrnambool, first start in 350 days, fucking...
Whooshka.
Well, so there's no money, so you go, well, it's going to be ridden conservatively to hit the line, and that's fine.
So that was a race of no place off the map anyway, and it's just gone to... Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just saying, so the robots of Andresse 13 to 750, and North Rosa, I think, was supposed to sit outside Andresse from its previous runs, 34 into 13.
Yeah.
So I think they sort of said they had no speed and there was going to be control from
It's a funny race, because...
Which happens when it's
yeah, the map was up in the air, and I didn't really like any of the horses in the market. I was prepared to save on Butterboom, but I was looking outside of the market. So when markets first went up, I backed both on Drassy and Choice, and I took $15 on Drassy. And to be honest, I considered in the last 10 minutes of betting trading out of it, because Drew Gate won, and I just didn't expect her to win.
Yeah.
Luckily, I just let them in position stand. I thought, oh well.
But that first up figure was pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah, because the first up figure was, it sort of was on its own.
I saved it.
I was just sitting there, but when I've seen it trading at $6.50 and things like that, I'm thinking I could just get my stake back out of this. But I left it anyway. So.
Now, speaking of funny run races, Lord of the Sky won the Bletchingley, beating Fast and Rocking and Bahuda.
I mean, they've gone a little bit quicker than Andresse, but...
I think the part of the race that I didn't expect here, that I didn't get right, was I thought if Ollie tried to get a break on Lord of the Sky, Charmed Harmony wouldn't let him. That's what I thought.
Craig was amazingly passive on that horse.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on in Charmed Harmony.
Maybe he thinks that was the right thing, but it's proof that it's not.
He needs to just go his same tempo all the way. That
it was a big go, and it was just poorly. It was a big go, wasn't it? 17 to 7, but it was poorly ridden.
But here again, with this is Vince Cardi's stuff here, and you would have done the first 600. But if you just want to learn what makes this caper fascinating, so Blythe Bell came from midfield in race 4 that we just discussed. Would have been leading Lord of the Sky by 3.7 lengths after 400 metres. So that's apples to apples. So just that's going to give you that picture. So race shape was everything in that race, and then Ollie just once Craig Williams was passive. Well, then even a little skunk like Lord of the Sky could win.
The best thing I got here is the punting Baron, who's a good man on Twitter. Hopefully he'll come to a drink one day, the Baron. He's tweeted out his write-up after the race. You can buy his stuff, or he throws it out after the race. He has a result. So I just really enjoyed this. We all know Lord of the Sky and everything. So he says, I can't believe I'm about to type this, but the horse I'm going to have something on here is Lord of the Sky. I thought he was pretty good first up on Wild Rain. While he isn't trustworthy horse, he isn't short odds. And that's, I think, a significant thing. We always see him getting rolled at the odds.
So he's on.
Yeah. With so many horses in this race resuming, the race is light on for genuine sprinters. He's probably the only one before. For that reason, I might take him to the front and let him run. He looks to get an unchallenged lead from gate 5. He'll strip fitter following first up run. I think he'll certainly look the winner at some stage of this race, and I'm pretty keen to have something on him. The more I type this, the more I think it's going to happen.
All right.
Rolfie, I mean, the presence of Ollie, rode him twice with 2 seconds in Group 1 races, keep him under consideration.
It doesn't matter the rest of it.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Only the presence of Ollie.
Only the presence of Ollie, but I just love the Baron. Well done, Baron. I thought it was a great... Well, he said it was one of his...
I've met the Baron, he's a good fellow. Well, you love him, the Hawthorns support.
I'm going to say, Baron, that I wrote almost exactly the same comment on the horse first up, and did have something on him first up. Now, this race, I marked him $9 and wanted to save on him. He did get out to a price where you could have. That was really a choice for the punters to make for themselves. Wasn't what I was prepared to make for them. And the key to it was going to be how much pressure he was going to get from Charmed Harmony. So when that didn't come, in the run, I'm thinking, whatever. But what point I want to make is I walked the track there on Thursday with Trev, and there was really hard on the fence. It wasn't quite as good as it was like half a horse off, you know what I mean? So, and then just immediately outside that, again, this is all very subtle, you know what I mean? It's not much of a difference, but sitting like 1.5 horses off the fence was really going to help a leader if you had the right jockey and owned it. And then coming into the straight, just making the other horses go round. You're not leaving too much room up inside you. And Nash used to do that. Well, we're talking about Nash before. He was the king of that in Sydney. Well, I don't know if Ollie walked the track or what he decided, but he sat 1.5 off the fence the whole way, and he just completely made it. He made it very hard for the other horses because come up outside him, you're not really one off the fence. You're almost two off the fence, and it just makes it that bit harder. So it was an extremely good ride.
So, a good man who you've had, but I really like him, but we like him. I think the many alligators. Buggy you, Manny, not running the cleaner, because Fast and Rocky would have pissed him. Putting some pressure on.
I think so.
Yeah, anyway.
There's the rest.
Yeah. Speaking of horses that were on last start, that we weren't on this week, Potts, Divine Mr. Artie, Prince of Brooklyn and Kinshasa.
It's another one that was right on the borderline of saving on. Anyway, I mean, like we really wanted Kinsachi.
Yeah.
It was a really good run, so considering the way the race was run.
Yeah.
What's that?
Kinsachi was a really good run.
Oh, so
the way the race was run, fade out quick, doing a bit of work.
I think she was the right horse to back in the race. So I have no regrets about backing her. I just have a little bit. I mean, everything went right for Divine Mr. Artie and he won. In hindsight, should I have saved on him? Maybe.
With the jockey change, there was just didn't find the traffic.
But one other thing with Wall Street Wolf, who I think we all agree is got genuine talent. I didn't know this when we used to talk about this on Carnival a lot, but big sweat under the tail. Do you look for that?
Yeah.
It's a key negative.
Yeah.
It's just that horse.
So behind the barriers, I'm just.
This is the horse.
Yeah, but
this is the problem.
But he's done it every
He's done that every
start. So he was actually better on Saturday than he was in his
Yeah.
other two runs. Right?
But here's the thing. So the other two runs, he's horribly disappointed. Hayes, you clearly thought it was, and then he's he's running by himself at Geelong. So it actually wasn't a race.
No,
which I think, and you guys have all touched on this before. A race is, if you think of it like competitive sport, he didn't have competitive sport at Geelong. So it was no.
The only thing
it was a very strange horse there on Saturday because he was off the synthetic. He does everything wrong. You know, you can sort of see that the robots were sort of going to like him, but
that's it. So there's,
you know, like I was almost fucking laying him and backing him at the same time. I didn't know what to do, like because I was sort of
wondering.
You know, I'm sort of thinking at 280 I want to lay him, and then 320 I might save a little bit. And I was up and down all over the place. I can't even remember what my position was on that horse by the time they jumped. I can't remember.
The last was taken out by Woody, who beat Magicus and
Woody got home for the boys.
Well,
Marwood.
Yeah.
So it's Magic. One other point about Magicus, there's been a criticism of Craig's ride getting too far back.
He talked himself, and they talked themselves into it before the race.
But
he didn't need to say that. I'm going to ride this with. You know,
but one other point,
he ended up with a spot further back than he should have.
Do you think there's a chance that maybe, because I was trying to look closely, that maybe the horse wasn't overly sparky, if you like this fucking word, but it came off such a bog track at Moonee Valley, you know?
I think third up like that, he was ready to.
Yeah, I think it was a really good run.
Yeah.
I think it was a terrific run.
But I just reckon maybe it took him
it's the perils of an inside draw. I mean, should he have allowed himself to get put there after 200 metres? But once he was there, I mean, he really had no chance to get momentum. And when he eventually got out, his run was every bit as good as Marwood's.
Yeah.
D-Lane was just a better ride. But he had a better barrier to produce that ride, you know. I just wish that Michael Walker had produced that ride on choice instead of going back to the fence that D-Lane produced on Marwood. I mean, that was the right way to ride horses on that track on Saturday. To get in the middle of the field. So that was Blythe Bell. It was really Darren. You know, I mean, coming through the middle of the field, it was so much more of an advantage. And Divine Mr. Artie's another one. They did race on the fence, but they come through the field. Trying to make ground in the home straight on the fence was no good.
The Weir Horseman was a good return, whatever. Archie Moore. First half of Weir, beautiful.
It's a talented horse, though. It's a horse that David Van Dyke never got right. And there was a lot of interesting...
Stand by. Tune in.
Horses to follow, boys. I'll kick off here.
Just got a bit of belly over the boat in a minute, one sec.
My horse to follow is Mahuta. I think there's. I think he'll progress and he'll be.
You've done well. Here's the other one that I sent to
Matt.
So I don't know if he's put something up on the website yet.
No,
the two I sent were Mahuta and I'm
not plagiarising.
No, I'm saying that you're ahead of me. So, but Mahuta and Gatlinburg, there they are.
Yeah, good judges.
Mine was race 3.
Just race 3.
The format racer, yeah. And you can stick with Woody.
So can I just comment on what Ralph just said there? Because I agree with Ralph. On paper, it's probably the best race of the day.
Yeah.
My only hesitance with that race is it is 1,000 metres, and it does they have a life of their own 1,000-metre races. They don't really translate, but the horses in that race will have got great benefit out of running fast for 1,000 metres. So if they're the right horse, definitely. So Gatlinburg to me.
And of course, on Saturday it's Owners Appreciation Day at Flemington. So
Is it?
they've named all their horses, all the races, owners and members and all that. So we need to really support those people.
I'm tipping, from Sunday Pakenham Congressional.
Yeah.
I reckon. I thought it might be a Derby horse for price. I was just trying to line it up with Tarzino last year when he appeared and everything.
Big prize.
Big prize.
Oh, another big prize.
And Ollie been on it, and Ollie was down to ride it, and I don't know whether it was crook with him, Alan rode it, but anyway.
Yeah, I think that was
Ollie
the
rode
right
it
change,
first
yeah.
start, and Donald's been doing all the work on it, so just be interesting. I don't know if it's too early for Derby, but he's got a stack of upside going forward. And the horse that ran second to him, Red Velvet Swing, I found him on jump outs at Flemington, these sensational jump outs, like stack of talent.
Yeah,
And then he went to Danny O'Brien.
Yeah.
So he ran well first up, unsuitable race at Geelong, then went to town last at Flemington.
It was well backed.
Went well back.
Yeah.
Was in the Leicester tipped it and Warren tipped it. And I thought I was nearly going to have something on. I thought this was run well. I had it in my black book, and he flopped. So they backed him up there on Sunday night with Congressional, and he chased him to the line, and they sort of spaced the rest. So he's got talent. He's obviously he's learning his craft. But they're mine too.
What was that Danny O'Brien horse that we said from Sandown last Wednesday?
Wake the Reach or something.
Yeah, the thing that won on debut, I think that actually has got some pretty serious scope.
That was the win of the day at
They were
Sandown.
talking Derby with it, I think.
Yeah, that could be.
It's amazing these half positions, like Stately Boys, another one they're talking about Derby, and it's a long way to go, isn't it? Or isn't it? Isn't it that way to go?
No, not when you think about it. Like,
These are
August, September, October, like, you've got 3 months to sort of get them there.
Another 5 runs.
Yeah.
I'm going.
If they hold together. Anyway, I went through and done a heap of reviewing yesterday and today, and it was for the last 3 weeks, and it was pretty thin pickings, to be honest.
Yeah,
So we're in a bit of a patch of, like, the Saturday form's good.
It's transition time.
It'll transition out,
But the Saturday form from Caulfield, Flemington, Caulfield's,
Okay.
you know, it's a base, it's usable, but I'm saying the midweek stuff at the moment, it's very, the stuff coming
The
through.
spring horses will start appearing.
Yeah, they'll start
Yeah,
appearing, so it'll be a whole new wave come through from the bottom up.
Middle of August onwards.
But anyway, so the couple I did find, there was a race on the 22nd of July at Geelong on the synthetic, so it's off the synthetic, but Movie won the race. It was by far the best race of the day. And Darren, we had the second place getter there, Myro, who was a really good run.
Real improver, Myra.
Yeah.
And a real improver this
I think next start for her, she's from the right camp. I think she'll be 3rd or 4th up in the second prep. So Myro is definitely a horse to follow. And on the same day, Junior Burger went quite well. So that was just really a barrier trial for that horse. So I think he's
to get home from on debut for Weir, he wasn't really fancy. He really let rip in the straight, didn't he?
Yeah. So in addition to the race that Ralph mentioned, the Danny O'Brien awake from Grimberg or whatever it's called in race 1, I think the Fabulon race on that day will be a good form race. So I don't know. The finishing positions are a bit all out of whack there on the track, but there was a number of horses in that race that'll compete at Saturday grade.
All right, so if you haven't seen it yet, if you're the only one who hasn't seen it, make sure you Google Rebecca Judd, Tony Jones. It's a funny
that was
funny
chompers.
Yeah.
Do they deserve a logie for it or what? Do they deserve a logie or not?
I think so.
Yeah.
He's battling a bit at the minute, Chompers. Racetrackralphie.com.au. He's at RT Ralphie on Twitter. He's at Winback Dan on Twitter. And I'm at the Picnics on Twitter. You can grab the one to follow to grab Potts' stuff, the Potts' plays, and the full set.
Good luck for the week. Hope you're actually live by this time.
Well, just
Flemington, how was the weather? It's like
it's going to be 14 degrees.
Oh,
Can't wait to get there.